Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? This part of John's gospel is known as the farewell discourse, but today we only get a tiny portion of it. We don't have time for the whole thing. Because you see, the first 12 chapters of John's gospel have been about the ministry and signs of Jesus, poetic testament to word become flesh, miracles of wine and bread and fish, conversations at night or across a well, and more than a few unexpected healings. And then the narrative stops to dwell. 5 long chapters tell the story of a single night, a last supper together and final teaching before Jesus' arrest. So we listen in on just a moment of that long evening together in our gospel passage today. The way John tells the story, Jesus seeks in these last hours to reassure his dearest ones that they have everything they need to draw closer into God and into the life that God desires for them, both abundant and eternal. That despite the coming separation, they will find they do know the way, the practices, the path and pattern they have shared with Jesus all this time. Why in Easter season do we return to this eve of his departure? For the first few Sundays in Eastertide, we heard the stories of the risen Jesus appearing to his followers, a garden encounter, the mark of nail and sword, burning hearts on the road to Emmaus. But these have given way to other ways of imaging our relationship with God. Jesus as gate, the Lord as shepherd, Jesus as the way, the truth, as life itself. We return in the midst of our Easter hope to the consoling, reassuring posture of Jesus, who, though he will soon be physically parted from his dear ones, is their very way of life and the truth in which we have our being. Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? In his 2020 book, Death is But a Dream, hospice physician and researcher Dr. Christopher Kerr describes a pattern among the dying, who often experience insights, visions, and dreams in their final days. He describes this recognizable process as a time of integration for a person nearing death, one which merits respect and attention in our approach to end-of-life care. The dreams and visions are more real than real to the person experiencing them. There may be a glimpse of someone long gone or a conversation with a departed loved one. Perhaps you have stories in your own family about a loved one who was seeing beyond what could be perceived by others as they drew near the end. Not hallucinations, which can be troubling to go through as well as to observe, but presence and peace, which can arrive as a welcome gift. Dr. Kerr says these are powerful, stirring experiences that occur in the last days or hours of life that constitute moments of genuine insight, a vivid recentering for patients. They often mark a clear transition from distress to acceptance, a sense of tranquility and wholeness for the dying. They're experienced as reassuring and peaceful for the one approaching death, but also tend to be soothing for family members who see their loved one delivered from fear or given the gift of a welcome reunion as they transition from this life. For life is changed, not ended. Interestingly, these end-of-life dreams tend not to be filled with religious or symbolic images, but are more often centered on personal histories, self-understanding, concrete relationships, and singular events of a person's life. Real life experience rather than abstract preoccupations with the great beyond. We hear in the story of Stephen from Acts of the Apostles, or we can find in the evening news or our own life experience that not every death happens in safety or in peace. Nor will each one feel like a welcome arrival for the one who dies, any more so than for those who are left behind. We imagine, hope for, long for that reality that we might commit our spirit willingly. We know that is not always the case. I wonder, though, whether we might see death itself differently when we appreciate this innate tendency toward integration at the last. How wonderful to consider that we've been created with the spirit of reconciliation within us, that knit into our very being may be a divine impulse toward healing, peace, toward the possibility that we would meet our death gently and with willingness. It feels of Easter to change how we see death. If we can be freed from our fear of it and of what is beyond, Easter is more than an event, a mysterious experience of Jesus raised from the dead once upon a time. Easter reveals for us the pattern that is the way of Jesus, the deepest truth of how God redeems suffering and death to bring us to life. God's reconciling purposes meet us everywhere we are or will be. Easter makes us able to interpret what is about to happen, be it the departure of a beloved or our own approaching death, a disordering the things that we had counted on in our life to be just so. Easter makes us able to interpret the life and death that unfolds through a lens of faith and hope. So these words of Jesus, heard now after Easter Day and from within our Easter hope, help us to surrender our posture of despair and find ourselves through the way that is both truth and life. When we hear these teachings of Jesus in their context of consolation, of encouragement and assurance, we can also hear how ill-fitting the notion is that Jesus means to shut out or exclude, that only those who know and proclaim Jesus as Lord will be included in God's reconciling mercy. The question put before Jesus is not who's in and who's out. The question put before Jesus is, Lord, we are afraid. We don't know where you are going, where life is taking us, how to get there. And Jesus gives a pastoral answer meant to bear them up for the life ahead. He says there's not some other secret way to the Father that is hidden from you. The only thing they need to know and abide in is the relationship and pattern of life he has already been sharing with them. It's not a new and separate thing, but a continuation and a deepening of the way they have traveled together. It's not a message of exclusion, but of consolation, particularity, for the sake of comprehension. Take heart. Do not be troubled. I will be with you as you move toward God. Next week, we'll hear from several of our graduating high school seniors about how they have been formed and shaped by the way of Jesus as we have traveled it together at St. Mark's. I'm celebrating a nephew and godson in Colorado who graduates this May, as well as a beloved niece graduating in Louisiana. Alongside all those handsome senior portraits, our family text thread right now is full, like I imagine many others are, of pictures of these bright, energetic, wonderful young people when they were babies and toddlers. On the eve of a different kind of departure for these graduates, we look back at the love and assurance so visible in images of the early years. We remember and send them off with the abiding love that will never let them go, even as we let them go, as of course we must, and will do many times over. Our perspective may change, whether we are the young ones striking out and separating from things that have gone before, the one facing mortality from closer in than we thought we were ready for, the one sending off or standing by or left behind or ready to receive. For each of us, at any of these moments and in the ones we can't imagine, the truth remains of God with us, love within us, love awaiting us. You know the way to the place where I am going, says Jesus. Abide in the love that has given itself to you, and give yourself away in it too.